Okay. No, tell me about that.
Yeah. So, it's a skill I want to learn. It takes, quite a bit of time to master it, but essentially what it is you're upset with somebody, and maybe it's somebody that's already passed, but maybe it's somebody who you don't have the ability to have that conversation with for whatever reason, but you focus on an empty chair. Literally, the coach will roll an empty chair into the room. Sometimes it's in a process group. Sometimes it's just, one-on-one. Or if it was virtually, you might have the conversation face to face, but you're like, hey, have the conversation with me, but it's the same concept. But what it allows you to do is to unload those pent up feelings on either the empty chair or on the other person. And I got to experience it twice during my kickoff in process groups. And it's from my experience, me actually, doing it. At first I was like, wait, I'm going to talk to an empty chair? How's this going to work? But with an experienced facilitator, with somebody who, has been trained and can walk you through it, it's crazy. It's amazing. They will continue to probe and to prod you, like, as you're, talking to the chair, talking to the person, talking to, walking through whatever it is that you're trying to process. But you will unload a whole bunch of shit.
What did you learn from that process? Like, what was your big insight?
Well, so I'll share this with you. The first empty chair was my mom. And I didn't realize that I was angry with her. So when I started to have the conversation, I was actually the first person in process group to even speak up. Totally new group of humans. Eight, I think is what we had in there at the time. 8 total strangers that I had just met shortly before that. And my professor says, who wants to go first? And I'm like, so she and I start having this dialogue. I didn't know what to expect. Process group was brand new to me. And so I think the biggest thing was just, not knowing exactly what direction this was going. I had no clue, like no idea. And just being really, I think, surprised at how mad I was. And also surprised at like how much I hadn't processed any of like her death at all. And just in the short period of time, talking to the chair and going through all of that, like there was such a huge like range and wave of emotions just in that short period of time. Like it was just like, I mean, it's hard to describe. It really is.
Sure.
But it was like months worth in a short period of time.
It's overwhelming.
Very, very.
Yeah. But it makes sense. It would be surprising to have those realizations that you were feeling anger and you were feeling some untied ends, if you will.
Very much, very much.
So how did that free you up to be a better coach then?
So I think if I had, like, let's say I had started coaching right then, I think that I would have still had a lot of unresolved feelings, obviously. and a lot of things that I wouldn't have understood about her passing. Not only that, but coming into contact with clients and not really being able to fully help them through their loss, whatever that was, whether it was, processing of losing a loved one or, some other loss. So I think what it gave me was a much greater capacity to help them through processing, grief definitely, but just, losses in general. I think if I would have started at that point, um, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And do you mean as far as realizing how many layers there truly are underneath what
Yes.
you feel on the surface level or express on the surface level?
Yeah, because my way of dealing with loss and grief and at that point and pretty much my entire life up till then was I'm just going to shove this shit down and get back to dealing with life,
Mm-hmm.
which is bullshit. Like,
Yep.
how had I been functioning, or had I even been functioning for, all those years? Like, I look back and no wonder I was frustrated and felt like crap. And no wonder I had to, lift as much as I did and work out the way that I had to, because I had so much unresolved crap.
Yeah. And it is bullshit, but how much is that reinforced in our society that you've got to just suck it up and move on, and you got to find an outlet and kind of beat yourself up, and for lack of a better word, kind of punish yourself to get rid of those feelings? How much is
Seriously.
that praised versus, like you were just explaining earlier, sitting in that shit and really feeling it,
Yes.
processing it, and then moving on?
I know. I know. And it makes me so sad every time I see, and you see it everywhere. You see it, on TV, you see it in movies, TV shows, you see it all over the internet. Every time I see a post, or like I see like a character on, on TV, whatever, it makes me so damn sad now, where I'm like, you know, why?
Yeah. Like yesterday at the gym, for example, we had a workout. It was thrusters for sets of 10, and you're supposed to go as heavy as you could for a set of 10 thrusters, which truly no one's super stoked about because it's not really fun. And
Right.
someone said something, I think they said, no pain, no gain, or something like that. I was like, no pain is pain.
Right.
You have pain. We need to talk about this and address it.
Right.
But just hearing how universal those phrases are and how much they're just kind of accepted as that's the way it
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know, it hurts.
I know. You're like, no, your body, if something hurts, that's your body telling you that you need to take a look at that. If something hurts, it's your body telling you you need to look at that. Like,
Yeah.
we have tear ducts where we have tear ducts for a reason,
Yes.
like,
And personally for me, once I came to that realization of we have to pay attention to pain. This is a signal that's there for a reason. It's important. I started to, I guess it was a combination of a few different things. Realizing that, and then also realizing that feelings and emotions weren't things just to be pushed aside or shoved down and keep pushing through them. Once I realized, again, those were kind of signals that are telling us, hey, slow down and deal with this.
mm-hmm.
That's when I stopped going to the gym for, like you were explaining earlier, those reasons of how much can I lift? How much can I beat myself up? And
Yep.
started going to the gym for reasons of, I want to be healthy and I want to be able to feel good and move well forever.
Yep.
And working out more from a place of love for myself rather than punishing myself for X, Y, or Z.
Yes.
It was just, gosh, it was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the world looks different
Mm-hmm.
and it feels different when you're
Mm-hmm.
operating that way.
Yeah. What was it exactly that made that shift for you?
Oh gosh. I think it was just trying that out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just realizing for the longest time, you know, I was all consumed by the gym. So I was constantly training and constantly coaching, and my life was in the gym and there was nothing outside of the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it seemed like every bad lift or every bad day was a life and death situation.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I took some time to step away from the gym and realize that life happens outside of the gym as well, that's
Yeah.
when that switch in my brain flipped a little bit. And I was like, oh, I want to be in the gym. I want to go back to the gym. I want to feel good and be able to move, because that's what we're supposed to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to the gym and kill myself and just like feel like crap when I leave and hurt when I'm walking around. I want to go to feel better outside of the gym,
Yeah.
not to feel worse outside of the gym.
Right.
Just giving it a shot, really,
Yeah.
is what it was for me.
No, I think that's huge.
What was it for you?
I, which this is going to sound terrible, but I think it took being diagnosed with a hormone disorder and adrenal fatigue
Mhm.
and having pushed myself all the way into literally like where a doctor had to say, "Hey Jenny, like your body's been screaming for approximately, 3+ years." And I mean, I knew, like, I was seeking the diagnosis. I knew, like, it wasn't like it was a secret. And I had tapered down, how long, how much, how frequent, because I physically couldn't anymore.
Mhm.
Like, when I was in Tennessee, I was to the point where I could physically only get to the gym once, maybe twice, if I was lucky, a week.
Yeah. Which is
And
not much for you.
no,
Yeah.
no. And I had a personal trainer when I was there once a week. So I tied it to where I knew that I was going to show up for him every Sunday. But that was hard. Like even that to me felt like failure,
Mm.
even though like my body was like, you can't do this anymore. You can't.
Mhm.
But it really took the diagnosis and understanding like what had led up to the diagnosis, and then also being kind of told you can't go back to 5 days plus of working out. Like you can't go back to doing what you did. Maybe someday, maybe eventually,
Mhm.
but if you go back to that right now, you're going to end up right back where you are. It's never going to get better. Your body's never going to repair. You're going to be chronically not well. Like, what do you want, basically, was what the doctor was saying. What do you want?
Yeah.
So unfortunately for me, it took a diagnosis of you're not well. You're not well. What do you want? And having to kind of like rethink what healthy meant to me, and rethink like what did I want long term, like kind of like you said, you know do I want to be walking out of the gym every day like, oh, everything hurts, and for days afterwards everything hurts? Like, is that a badge of honor I want?
What
Or
what does healthy mean to you?
right now it means that I wake up every day and I feel good about where I'm at.
Mm.
Like, I feel like I'm fueling myself in a way that feels respectful, and I am getting the right amount of sleep, which is huge,
Mhm.
especially given what I've been through. Like, for a long time, sleep was something that was not my friend because we were not on the same page. If I have a day that's stressful, I am checking in with people that I know are going to be supportive of me. Like, as much as I love being in the gym, I love being, I love working out, and I love like all the physical things, I've had to take an actual step back and not be at the gym for a while because frankly, my body was not responding well to it.
Mm-hmm.
That was so hard for me. So hard.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you a time in my life where there wasn't some form of like pretty intense activity. And so for me to not like be involved in something, it's hard. Like, that's harder for me than like I it was always really weird to me, and I say this very cautiously, but it was always very weird to me when people were like, January 1st, I'm going to sign up for the gym and I'm going to get back to it. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I mean, my experience with you were just a staple in the gym. Every day I'd come in to teach and I'd know you'd be there in the evening, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to go back to CrossFitting. I really do. I love it. I miss it. I just know right now I'm not at the place where my body can handle it. I really hope it's very soon.
Yeah. And we go through those seasons in our lives. And I guess what I'm hearing is that to you right now, being healthy means taking care of yourself. And taking care of yourself means prioritizing things like sleep and surrounding yourself with supportive people,
Mm-hmm.
and getting the other pieces in order. And the gym will come when your body says it's time. But
Yes.
recognizing that you called it a badge of honor, which so often it is, how many hours did I spend in the gym or how much weight did I lift? We wear it like a badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're walking around sore and your joints hurt and
Mm-hmm.
things are painful, it's supposed to be like, oh, that means you did a good job. But truly, you're doing a great job in recognizing that I have to give my body what it needs. And right now, what I want isn't necessarily what my body needs.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay too.
And the journaling has been really helpful. The meditating has been really helpful. Like, it's so funny. All the things that I used to like, not make fun of, because that's not the right, but I used to kind of like brush off as things that other people did, and I didn't see them as being for me, have been so huge in, just so huge in the transformation from where I was burnt out, stressed out, unable to sleep, unable to, like, I was literally like, when they talk about wired and tired, that's literally where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Just exhausted. I have never felt, and I can't put into words, I've never felt that tired in my life, but yet unable to sleep chronically for months.
So you mentioned journaling. Did journaling help you with that, with the insomnia?
Yeah, actually journaling has been amazing and I've suffered from insomnia since I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I wish somebody would have brought up journaling when I was
Here you go, write something.
literally. And like, I remember like as a teenager, I did write, but like nobody ever said, hey, maybe write down your thoughts. It might help you with your sleep. It was always take this pill.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember as a teenager being prescribed trazodone, which it's also used for some mental health issues, but it was prescribed to me for sleep, and it would dope me the hell up. Like, I would be groggy the next day. Like 14, 15 years old, taking that on top of, because I have a seizure disorder. So I've been on seizure meds since I was a teenager. It's like, like I understand that there's some things like I'll have to take those medications for the rest of my life, but I really wish that somebody had said, hey, try to write down your thoughts and see if, maybe try this for 30 days, 60 days, whatever, maybe you'll feel better. Because yes, to answer your question, the journaling has been huge. I've noticed that by writing down every morning, and I don't have like a specific, I have to write down this. I just free form write down, what it is that pops in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows me literally to go about the rest of my day without thinking about whatever I just wrote down.
Yeah. I love that everything you've mentioned as far as getting yourself healthy again has been so simple. Like,
It is.
have good friends, journal, because I'm on such a journaling high right now, because it was fall semester of last year. So about a year ago this time, I took a class on positive psychology.
Mm.
And the book we read was The How of Happiness, and our semester long, I don't know if I've told you this before, our semester long project was essentially taking different strategies from this book that this woman wrote, where she's done research on happiness, which sounds crazy, but I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But what she found is 50% of our happiness is determined by just kind of our genetic set point.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10% is determined by our circumstances. So when they say that you can control your experience and your happiness, you have control over the other 40%.
That's awesome.
So her book, it's there's a happiness survey in there.
Mm-hmm.
So our project for the semester was take this happiness survey, figure out where you need to and want to improve, and then practice implementing her different strategies for increasing your level of happiness.
That's awesome.
So the 3 things that I implemented from her strategies were a gratitude practice, journaling, and limiting my time on social media, because I was really big into like comparing myself constantly to other people.
Yeah.
And throughout that semester, first of all, my happiness score like went off the charts, but compared to where it started. But I also lost like 10 pounds. I was sleeping better.
Oh my God.
And it was those 3 things. I changed.
Seriously?
Yeah. Those 3 things. So a couple months ago, I was back in this cycle where I was just kind of struggling. It's like, why am I not journaling? I should be journaling still. Like, I don't even know why I stopped that.
Yeah.
So I hopped back into journaling, and holy crap, like again, like 5 pounds just gone.
That's crazy.
Stress is like not there.
Yep.
Journaling is so powerful.
It literally, so on your point of the gratitude thing, I technically have 2 journals and I point, but that my little side table is, my couch is right over, that's my living room over that way. But on my side table, I've got a little gratitude journal that I bought last January. I started writing in that January 1, and it has 3 spaces that you write in every day. So write down 3 things you're grateful for. Because that was kind of the first step that I took in my little morning routine. Like, okay, I felt like this was doable. I could start with this. And so those are kind of like 2 of the things I write in the gratitude journal, and then I write in the regular journal. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah. What exactly, how did you implement it?
I just did every day. I had a separate journal for gratitude, and then everything else. Now I just kind of write the things that I'm grateful for each day.
In the journal?
I write it in my planner.
Oh, nice.
I forgot the journal, but then in my planner, I'll write down like today, my alarm went off and I didn't snooze. So I was like, yeah, I was grateful. I was excited to wake up today.
Right.
But the way I started it was just each day, just 3 things in the gratitude journal, and then 5 minutes of journaling, which would usually turn into 30 or 60. But I just gave myself the 5 minutes as easy kill. Like there's no reason not to do it.
Right.
And just seeing the amount of space and energy that freed up was amazing. Because it just, now I'll go to it when I can't sleep, or I wake up in the middle of the night and there's just thoughts racing. And even I'll notice that I'm getting distracted in conversations, or I can't focus at the gym. I'll come home and I'll grab my journal and my pen and I'm like, figure it out, just get it all out, whatever's going on. And the amount of space that those kind of conversations you're having with yourself that aren't necessarily productive takes up and takes away from other things is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that I'm more focused when I'm having conversations, coaching conversations, conversations like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I used to do, and I prided myself on being a fairly good listener, but what I used to do is what I think probably most people do, is they were waiting to respond. I don't do that anymore. Like just now when you were talking, I wasn't thinking about what I was going to say next. I was listening to what you were saying.
Yeah. Which is harder than it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll find myself not able to do that. And that's when I know that I've let that part of my routine kind of slip.
Mm-hmm.
And I still got some work to do, or some things to uncover, or some conversations to have with my piece of paper, or other people, is when I'm in a conversation and I find myself thinking about what's coming next, or thinking about the next thing on my calendar, and not being able to completely focus on the conversation because I'm stressed about, oh, I have to send so-and-so X, Y, and Z, or
Yep.
whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Do you, if and when that happens, do you ever like stop in the conversation, just say, hey, I need to write down a thing right now, otherwise I'm not going to be able to focus? Or do you, how do you address that?
I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. Usually I'm just like, stop thinking about other things internally, which isn't helpful because then I think more about other things. But that's an interesting question. Why don't I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you run into that?
Because I am very, what's the word I want to use? I have a lot of tabs open always. I just like, I think that's how I've always been. Like I'm very, like I don't want to call myself like a multitasker. That's not it. But like, even when I'm working on, work, graduate work, like all of it, I always have like lots of things going. I'm trying to get better about it. But I would be like you, where if something popped into my head, I would have a hard time pushing it away. So I think that would be maybe something that I would, try to potentially do, because I wouldn't be able to put it down.
Yeah. I might have to start doing that and
Yeah.
let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Because I imagine that it would be an instant energy shift in the conversation. Because you can tell when someone's not present.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
know, especially when I'm coaching, my intent is to be 100% present. So I do a lot of, that meditation and centering work, but
yes,
things creep in sometimes.
Right? You're like, stop it. You're not supposed to be here right now.
Not your turn.
I know. Go away for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I think that I know that I could serve my clients better if I took the time to do that.
Yeah.
It's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. I just I wonder how that would work, or what that would look like.
Yeah.
I might try it myself, actually.
You'll have to let me know how it goes, and I'll do this.
I know. Yeah.
Excuse me, 1 second.
I know. Hold on. Well, and I do actually, I keep a notepad next to my laptop, and like when I'm on client calls, I'm taking notes, and I do tell them like, hey, by the way, if you see me writing, I record the call, but I take notes, just because like a lot of things to me, sometimes it's easier to process if I am taking notes. So, but I feel like if something came up, like something like that, I would maybe want to be like, hang on 1 second. Like I wouldn't want to be like, oh, I'm totally paying attention to what you're saying. I'm not writing down that I have an appointment at.
Yeah. Right. Add appointment to calendar.
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I know, right?
But it's also a sign to me, or a signal to me, that on those days I rush through, preparing for the day, or preparing for the week, or maybe I didn't get enough sleep and I was rushed heading out the door, or whatever the case may be. So it's also just a sign to
Slow
get the
down.
little pieces in order.
Yeah.
So that when I do show up, I can show up.
Yeah. No, I've totally had the same thing where, and I don't like the way that feels because I like to do like what you described. I like to get a little bit of meditation in before I have a call. I like to be in the right headspace. I don't like it when I feel like I'm rushed or I'm scattered when I'm getting on a call. Just because I don't feel like I'm showing up in the right way.
Yeah. And I was doing some goal setting the other day and writing mantras as part of it. And one of the things that my email just like pops up sometimes in the middle, even when it's closed. But one of the mantras that I wrote down was that I radiate peace, because if I'm doing that, then I'm present and I'm like fully there and I'm showing up the way that I want to, rather than if I'm like rushing through my words and I'm breathing really shallow and everyone thinks that I'm nervous and I'm doing things really fast.
Right.
Like, I just want to radiate this peaceful energy that I feel when all the little things are in order.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rushed energy that we're so surrounded by. I want to be like this light that's just kind of like
right.
calming.
Your halo's on either side of you. Yeah.
Lighting.
I should have got my little plugged in my little I have a basically like a halo light.
Oh yeah.
I could plug it in and I could have a halo as well.
Well, I have one of these little guys.
Yeah, that's what
to combat the backlighting.
I have one. I just don't have it plugged in right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're useful.
They are. They're super useful.